So I know this is slightly different than the usual thing I do, but I'm doing it anyway. We're talking about the 310 to 350 mob Maraudon boost. Now over the past few weeks I have taken the time to learn and perfect this farm, and currently I'm getting between 600 and 800 gold per hour, which is crazy, right? So there's some key points that I want to talk about. Firstly, gear. We're going to talk about the gear that I use, gear that you could farm, and the minimum requirements. Secondly, consumables. We will go over necessary consumables, the consumables that I like to carry anyway, and also optional consumables. Thirdly, we will get into the route that I like to use and potential extras that you could do to get that mob count up. Then we will talk about your service, how much you should charge, what you should do if you die, and extras that you can offer. And second to last, we're going to talk about the mafia, because if you were like me and you were playing on a PvP server, you are going to encounter the Iranian Maraudon mafia, and we'll talk about ways that you can counter them. And lastly, at the very end of the video, I will put a full, raw, unedited run just so that you can see it properly without me constantly yapping about it. Now, why would you listen to me? I mean, if you've watched any of my previous videos, then it shouldn't be a secret that I suck at the game, which is why I think my information will be quite useful, because clearly I've done something right. Remember, if you're not subscribed, then we are getting close to 5,000 subscribers, so any help is appreciated. It costs you nothing and it means the world to me. I will also say that if you think I have missed something out, or you think that you have something to add, then drop it in the comments, because any and all information will help anyone wanting to learn this boost. Okay, so first up is gear. We do not care about spell power or crit or anything like that. The only thing we want is intellect, stamina, and nature resistance. So let's quickly go over what I use. Most of my gear is actually PvP gear. I use the entire rank 10 set, PvP neck, and PvP cloak. I use the Necropile cuffs, the Dread Mist belt, 2 nature resistance rings, and 2 Heart of Noxian. For my weapons, I use the glowing Brightwood staff and the Bone Creeper stylus. And whilst I have an intellect buff active, that gives me 3,530 health and 5,583 mana and 85 nature resistance. Now for me, this works. Sometimes mana can get a little tight, but usually it's completely fine. Now if you do not want to farm out PvP gear, then fair enough. I would suggest at least getting the neck and the cloak, since you can get that from a single week of AV farming. Your next best option is going to be the Necropile set from Scholomance. They offer some very good stats, but more importantly, the 4 set will give you plus 15 to all resistances, which is very important. For your head slot, I would recommend the Dread Mist mask, again just because of the stats, and you can get the Dread Mist belt from the auction house, which would obviously give you the 2 set. For your rings, you can get these nature resistant rings from the auction house. I would recommend using 2, but if you don't want to do that and just run 1, you can grab the Blood of the Martyr ring from Stratholme. For your trinkets, I would highly recommend taking the time to go into Maraudon and farm Noxian for his trinkets, plus the wand. Whilst you're in there, you could also get the Celebrus cloak. Now, I don't use the cloak and the wand, that's just because I'm too lazy to go and get them, but they will help you out a ton. If you don't want to do that, then buying 2 life stones from the auction house would do just fine. Now for your weapon, I cannot recommend more that you do spend a little bit on the glowing Brightwood staff. 15 stamina, 29 intellect, and 15 nature resistance is absolutely perfect. The only issue is that I know it can be a little bit pricey, so if you really just don't want to spend it, then I would suggest something like the Trindlehaven staff. Now of course, you don't have to take my suggestions. Feel free to customize your gear how you like, but just as a guideline for that, make sure you have at least 3,000 health, 5,000 mana, and 50 plus nature resistance. When it comes to enchanting, really the only one you must have is a minor speed increase on your boots. I also use plus 5 resistances on my cloak and plus 100 health on my chest. Okay, so now that you are geared up, let's talk about consumables. Like I said earlier, not all of them are 100% necessary, but some of them are, and let's start with those ones. Firstly, iron grenades. I know some people don't want to level engineering for the 4th time, and although you can substitute anytime I use an iron grenade with a rank 1 blizzard, it's just not going to be as quick and as safe. Secondly, nature resistance potions are a must. I would say that I have quite a lot of nature resistance, as when I have a rank 3 mage armor on, I have exactly 100, which some would say is overkill, but sometimes I still find myself staring at my potion waiting for the cooldown so that I can pop another. And then of course, make sure you have a couple of mana and health potions ready. You probably won't need to use them, but just in case, they do sometimes come in clutch. Make sure you have first aid trained as well and have heavy rune cloth bandages on hand, because the route that I like to use has a lot of opportunities to pop bandages and you almost always will. Okay, so that's it for the necessary consumes. Let's talk about the optional ones. First, swiftness potions. 100% not needed. They're expensive and they just take up bag space. However, I personally like to use them in a specific section of my run, and not very often at all. They come in handy if you accidentally get silenced. Next, limited invulnerability potions. These only come in handy in a very specific scenario. I keep them just in case I find myself there. They also come in handy for dealing with the mafia, but we'll talk about that later. Magic resistance potions. I don't carry these anymore, although I used to. I would really only recommend these if you are short on resistance and already have a nature protection potion active with a potion cooldown ready. And lastly, light feathers and noggin fogger elixir for the slow fall. Now these only make a certain version of the kill phase easier. I'm going to show you 3 different ways, so don't worry, just experiment with it and you'll find the right way for you. Okay, you're all geared up with a bag full of consumables. Let's actually get to the farm itself. Now your boosties, they will stand at the purple entrance. Doesn't matter where, just in that general area. We are going to enter through the portal, which means you will need to get yourself the Scepter of Celebris from the Maraudon quest. Once in, we need to head to the starting point, so follow the route you see on screen now. It's right next to Princess, and we start by pulling this Hydra with our wand, and then pulling this Rock Patrol with our wand, and then turning around and wanding the first pack of mobs. I then like to counterspell the worms on the far left and face pull the ones on the right, and as soon as the right worms hit me, I blink around the corner and fire pack the last pack of mobs and begin to make my way over the bridge. Now this is how I like to do it. However, if you want to get some extra mobs in, then we actually start by waiting for the Rock Patrol by Princess to come up to us. We pull them and we jump down on top of this behemoth and blink so that we take no fall damage. Then you will need to wait for 30 seconds. Don't move, don't go anywhere, otherwise the rocks will reset. Once the 30 seconds is up, pull this Hydra down here, and then you will need to blink across the bridge because the Hydra you just pulled can actually smack you through the floor. Turn around here and pull this Hydra. I will say that when pulling these Hydras, be careful not to pull Rot Grip. After that, it's a simple case of going to where I like to start and continue like normal. As you are coming along the bridge, it is likely that you're going to encounter the Rock Patrol here. Typically, I like to just Frost Nova any rocks because there's usually 6 of them together. Coming into here, I like to either Cone of Cold or face pull this first pack of worms, then Fire Blast the next ones, and then for this third pack of worms, I like to hold out for a couple of seconds and then counterspell them. Next pack, just use whatever you want to. As we come up to the first set of Dimetrodons, I just Fire Blast them, then Frost Nova the Rock Patrol. Now this next part is a little bit important because we're going to blink and walk up a little bit and then turn around and rank 1 Blizzard. This allows us to pull the next pack whilst also making sure that we are keeping the mobs grouped up throughout the entire run. Once you've held the Blizzard for as long as you possibly can, just Fire Blast the worms, and for the next Dimetrodons, I like to once again hold out for a couple of seconds before counterspelling them. And since the Rock Patrol was right next to the worms, I ended up just Frost Novaing them together. I will pretty much blink here no matter what. Then I will Fire Blast the next pack and blink once again. I then pull this pack that's in the corner and Frost Nova the Rock Patrol. So this part is also quite important. You will need to counterspell the Dimetrodons and then blink into this corner and drop down. Okay, so this is our first kind of rest part. This is going to be your best chance to pop evocation, and whilst you're at it, get a bandage off too. And whilst you're waiting for the mobs to catch up, let's talk about these Dimetrodons quickly. These are going to be your worst nightmare. You must never let them get close, because if you do, they will silence you for 10 seconds, which means you will probably die. Once the mobs have caught up, you send a rank 1 blizzard at this corner and hold it for as long as you can. Then Frost Nova the Dimetrodons next to you and blink through the gap between these two rocks. Then pop Cold Snap and Frost Nova the second pack, and then continue on your way. If you come across the rock patrol along this walkway, just Cone of Cold it. Fire Blast this last pack of Dimetrodons and jump between this plant and blink away. Okay, so whilst we were going through this area, let's quickly talk about the Hydras. They are another mob that you really do not want to let get close, because they hit hard and will take your ice barrier away from you instantly. So whilst you're in this room, I wouldn't go out of your way to grab extra Hydras, but usually if they are in my direct path, then I'll Frost Nova or Cone of Cold them. As you come up this ramp, Face Pull or Fire Blast the first pack of worms, then use an Iron Grenade to pull the far pack and immediately blink once it's gone off. Then Arcane Explosion this pack and go around the inside of the rock and Fire Blast the next pack. So this next part is going to be quite important, as it does get a little bit tricky. Fire Blast this first pack, then target one of the worms that are far and Face Pull the closer pack. Then counterspell the far pack and immediately blink back onto the path. So once you've got this down, the mobs are going to get a little bit close to you, and if you need, do a quick turn and Cone of Cold or Frost Nova to get them out of the way. Make your way around this rock and then jump up this little bit on the side. Now if you are low on health, then blink here and quickly bandage. If not, just walk normally. Turn around and send a rank 1 blizzard for more mob grouping. So once you've done that, make sure you are going around the left side of the boss. If you don't, then you are risking these snakes resetting. As you are coming up to this first set of slimes, counterspell or Fire Blast the Shambler and pull him into the slimes, and then Frost Nova and immediately blink away. Cone of Cold the next set of slimes and then blink once again up this ramp. Target the slime down below and send a rank 1 blizzard up top to pull the slimes up there. Now this is where I like to pop a swiftness potion. You don't need to, you can get through it just fine without it, but I like to do it as it's just a little safety net. Now if you miss the slimes up top with your blizzard, then use an Iron Grenade to pull them once you are in range. Okay, so we need to talk about the creeping sludges, because they are incredibly important. There's 3 packs of them and you need to manually pull all of them, and by that I mean Fire Blast, Cone of Cold, Counterspell, Arcane Explosion, etc. Do not face pull them or let the other mobs pull them. If you don't, then all of the slimes you just pulled previously are going to reset. You don't need to worry too much about these Shamblers, because they are going to get group pulled anyway. For the last pack of sludges, I always blink through them after pulling. So as you're moving into Vile Tongue's seat, try your best to target one of these satyrs down below, because we are going to jump across the corner here and Fire Blast them. The first pack of imps will always get pulled, but jump and Frost Nova these stealth guys here. Then Fire Blast the tree down below and blink through the mobs and do your best to make this jump. I would suggest that you take some time beforehand to learn the jump. If you do miss it, don't worry too much, you have more than enough time to just run back and up. However, you do miss the opportunity to pop a bandage and group the mobs up. Then Frost Nova the trees behind you and blink away. Don't worry about this pack of imps, because they will get pulled. Now we're going to do a wide turn here by face pulling these trees. The mobs are going to get extremely close here, so blink before you die. Frost Nova this pack of imps and target the tree down below and Fire Blast it. Ignore the next pack of imps, and when you get to the second pack, blink through them and wand the imp pack on your left. Then Fire Blast the next tree down below and target the last pack of imps and counterspell them. One thing I will say about the trees is that they will root and they will stun, but having an ice barrier up will prevent both of those things from happening. Then use an Iron Grenade to pull the imp pack down this hallway and continue through to the purple entrance. Once again, Fire Blast the pack of imps and make your way up the ramp. Now this part is extremely important, because if you do it wrong, you will die. The mobs here can hit you through the floor, so you will need to blink across. This is also where those limited invulnerability potions will come in handy, because if you've had to use your blink before and it's currently on cooldown, then you will need to lip across. Frost Nova or Cone of Cold this pack on your right, then Arcane Explosion this last pack of mobs, and immediately blink away. Now, pop your first nature protection potion and get an ice barrier up, and be ready to group the mobs here. Hold it for as long as you can and then drop down. You can then get more grouping off at the bridge and then blink underneath. Okay, so that's it. We have pulled all of the mobs. Take your time to pop a bandage or to quickly craft a mana gem or whatever. And now we will start what I like to call the loop, because all we are going to do is group the mobs and get them into position. We're just going to run back up this hallway. Make sure at some point here that you apply dampen magic and switch to using mage armor rank 3. Turn around and group the mobs for one last time. We're then going to jump here and blink away. This is where I start to pop my noggin fogger to try and get a slow fall. Obviously, if you decide to do the kill phase a different way, then you won't need to do that. Make your way back through to purple and make sure to blink across the gap once again. Then you can start to send max rank blizzards to slow and kill the mobs. Now you probably already know how the kill phase works. Blizzards to slow and kill, keep an eye on your ice barrier and potions, and refresh them when needed. So the one thing I will say is that when you are in the kill phase, don't panic. Don't get stressed out. When I was learning the boost, I would always start panicking, and it would lead to me making a stupid mistake and dying. Also, if the mobs are still too spread out, or you get silenced, or you miss the jump, again, don't panic, because it's usually not a death sentence. Just blink underneath and do that same loop again to reset the mobs. Okay, so let's talk about the 3 different ways that you can do the jump, or at least the 3 ways that I know of. Firstly, the way that I like to do it. Using a slow fall, you can just simply walk off the ledge and land on this right side, and then just jump back up again. Now, you actually don't need a slow fall for this. You can jump onto the right side and jump back up. However, I use a slow fall because it guarantees that I won't miss going up or down. Without the slow fall, you need to be sitting on the very tippy top of the ledge in order to jump back up. So give both ways a try, see what you like. The other way is walking off the edge so that you can land in the middle, and then when you need to get back up, jump up onto the left ledge and back onto the path. Now, I don't like this way because I think that sometimes it can get a little bit fidgety with the double jump. But you might be asking, why don't we just jump onto the left ledge? Well, that's because the hydras will still get you. So don't do that. I've made that mistake before. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to talk about in this section is your talents. Now, I would suggest just copying the ones on screen. However, the most important ones are going to be magic absorption. This is a must talent for this because this is what will give you infinite mana in the kill phase because of the imps. Improved blizzard is also a must. Obviously, without it, the mobs would just be coming at you full speed and it's not going to be a very good time. And of course, make sure you have ice barrier. Okay, so you've learned the boost and are ready to start charging. Now, the prices may vary throughout servers, but I'm going to talk about what I charged on my server, Spine Shatter EU. When I first started, I was charging 25 gold per run or 125 gold for 5 runs, but slowly I worked my way up to 30 gold per run, then 35 gold. Now, most people I've seen are charging 200 gold for 5 runs, 350 gold for 10 runs. Now, in my opinion, I think that is a little bit overpriced, and charging 150 gold for 5 runs is what I've kind of stuck to for the most part. If you want to make more gold, then I do not think you will have any issues with charging 200 for 5. It might just take a little bit longer to find customers that way. Now, if you die, what should you do? Well, personally, I have died a few times whilst people were paying me. It's usually not a big issue. I usually just give them the offer of either refunding that run or doing the next run for free. Now, the last thing I'll mention is I would recommend getting yourself 3 accounts, obviously for summoning. I use my main account, my alt account, and my summoning account. All it does is makes it quicker for getting customers. If that's something you're interested in, then using this spot here, but be careful since there will be other summoners here. Okay, so you are making good money from the boost, but you are now kill on sight to the Mafia. Now, if you're on a PvE server and are not interested in this section, then please feel free to skip forward and enjoy the raw footage. Now, I am kill on sight to the Mafia, but who are they? Well, they are Iranian gold sellers that have apparently been doing this for years. They control the market, which is probably why prices for boosts are so high on my server. But they also have rogues on every layer camping the portal entrance. Now, these rogues are full PvP spec against mages with engineering and all that stuff, so the chances of you winning against them are very low. And they're on pretty much all day, every day. Specifically, I come across two players. First one called Tyron and the second called Dead Piggy. They are always on for a minimum of 12 hours a day. I know, sad, isn't it? But there is one reliable way to get around them, and that's with the limited invulnerability potions. Simply, I walk up to the entrance of the portal room and blink inside and pop a lip, and that will take me out of combat and let me enter. If there are multiple, one camping the entrance and one camping the exit, well, unfortunately, there's really not much that you can do. Welcome to the last part of the video. All this section is going to be is completely raw footage of an average run, just so you can see everything in action. So, I hope you all enjoy, and I will see you in the outro. Hope you all enjoyed today's video because I enjoyed making it. Remember to subscribe since we are getting close to 5,000 subscribers now. I know this is a bit different than the usual, but this video was a lot of fun to make, and you know, there's nothing wrong with a little change every now and then. I will say once again that if you have anything to add or you think I've missed out some important information, then please drop it down in the comments. Anyway, that is enough yapping for today, I think. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all later.